This is Progman Rob for ProgressiveMusicPlanet.com, and here's my interview with Dave Wyndorf of Monster Magnet.
Hey, this is Dave.
Hi, Dave. This is Rob from ProgressiveMusicPlanet.com. How are you?
What's up, Rob?
Not much, buddy. How are you?
Very good. Nice day here in New Jersey. It's sunny. It's September. It's fucking beautiful, actually.
I know. I'm in upstate New York, so I'll take this weather. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's the best time. For the East Coast, it's the best time.
Yeah, it is, because sooner or later, it's going to get cold.
That's when I go on tour. That's why I was like, if I'm not going to stay inside.
I don't blame you.
I go to Europe like in February or January, and where it's just kind of rainy. And then, get too bad. And then by the time it's done, I get home and it's like springtime. It's awesome.
That's a great plan. I wish I could do
it is a good plan.
So let's talk music. First of all, I got to say I've been a fan I figured it out, about 22 plus years or so. So I really, yeah, I know I'm old. So what can I say? But
don't worry, man. You're not old. I'm old. Compared to me, you're young.
But so it's an honor, and let's talk redos and remixes and that kind of stuff. Now,
sure.
You got Cobras and Fire is coming out on October 2nd, which is your second redo. Now, you first did the one for Last Patrol, obviously. Now, what gave you the idea to first start doing it with Milking the Stars?
Well, with Milking the Stars, it was kind of more of a continuation. I called it a reimagination because I didn't know what to call it, but it was really a continuation. Like, I did it, finished it rather quickly, put it out, and it was one of those things where I was like, man, I just can't leave this thing alone. I was like, I could have done this, I could do this. That happens with every record, but this one even more. Yeah. And because I had done the stuff with my good friend Phil here in Redback, as opposed to the old way, for the last bunch of records, which is go out and work with other producers. I had all the stuff. I knew where all the tracks were. I was like, fuck it, I'll just do it. And just make stuff up. I just had a wish list of sounds. So that was like a continuation of that. I was having so much fun doing it, and it was rather cool to do because I could do it in between tours. I was having so much fun doing it. I was like, why don't I just stay on it?
Yep.
I've got Mastermind right here. And I had some problems with the way Mastermind came out, so I was like, screw it, I'm just going to go in and do it again.
But with that one now, I mean, this one compared to the other redo, I'll just say the Cobras and Fire album to me almost sounds like literally a redo versus altering. It sounds like you kind of thought, well, it should have been this way instead of versus a continuation. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, definitely. And also the songs on Mastermind were, I think, more limited as far as how much they could be reimagined. Either that or I was just really shot and tired, which is probably the same thing. But I definitely, I thought that the stuff on Last Patrol was easily a lot easier reimagined. Right. And I didn't expect that. So when I got to the Mastermind thing to do the Cobras of Fire reimagination, I was like, well, there's really not much to reimagine here. Yeah. Except for the fact that I wanted to give it, as just like in the last one, a completely different vibe. So that was my main thing, was to give this record as different a vibe from Mastermind as I could, even if I just had to redo with the same arrangements.
Well, yeah, I mean, and plus you've got there's more of a time element involved here, because I mean you were doing, like you said, Last Patrol, Milking the Stars. That's a continuation. It's right there, right now. Now you're going back 5 years.
Yeah, it was when I opened it up, I was like, oh, holy shit, you get what you ask for. This was like 14 songs on the album. Yeah. And I was like, I can't do all this. But of course I tried. I went in. And it was put together in between touring too. So it was weird. I'm glad I did it, because I think it fits in with more of my vibe these days. Yeah. I mean, it's to me, whereas the other one is a continuation. This feels like a different record. I mean, listening to it, different lyrics, different music. It's just a whole different animal. I mean, and that's what I wanted. That the other one had parts on it that I really liked, but it was I wasn't fully in on it. I had a co-producer that did a lot of the work as far as assembling certain sounds, and there were a lot of digital stuff that went on after the fact during mixing, samples and stuff that were put on to slick it up, to make it sound like an outstanding, like modern rock record.
Right.
And in hindsight, almost direct hindsight, probably a year after, I was like, oh man, I really should have been closer on this. So that's another reason I was like, I take all that shit off, I took every plug in, I could, redid all the guitars, redid most of the bass. And
you even, in both instances, you added new stuff to each one. What was that?
I tried to add as much new stuff as I could. A lot of Mellotron, a lot of organs, a lot of sitar tracks.
Yep.
Really squirrely, like one finger type performances of guitar. Stuff that's not chords, but they're just little stuff that goes fuzzy kind of shit that's around everywhere. All really trying to make the songs get their depth from individual parts rather than big chord.
Right.
Just, guitar. So you have to make space. It's really fun. I learned a lot from doing this.
Yeah, I would think. I mean, this is kind of especially the differences between the two. You kind of go in and you see what's there, and then you're kind of like, well, what can I do with it? It's got to be a totally different... It's different than just laying it down and recording an album. It's got to be completely different.
Yeah, it's very different. It's like a lot of chin scratching. What's the other way I could present this?
Yeah.
This song, how can I get a different vibe? Like, there's like a big fist in the air rocker called Gods and Punks on Mastermind, and I was like, wow. I listened to the lyrics and I was like, well, that's just really like a sad song, really. It doesn't sound like a fist. I mean, if you go by the lyrics alone, it doesn't sound like a fist in the air rocker. So I just did the sad thing. Yep. And put it together with tiny little acoustic guitar parts, and then put like a Robert Fripp style, like a guitar lead on it, and all of a sudden, bingo! It's like, wow, it's like a completely different thing.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, that was, and it benefited from that. I think I like remixes and remasters. I mean, especially when bands are going back now, it seems like everybody's remixing and doing the fucking surround sound stuff. I love that though, because
I love it too. I mean, that's one of the best parts about the modern age is that you're getting a lot of work done on some really, really stuff that was really, really cool in the first place, and maybe didn't get because of the schedule. Maybe the albums didn't get their total due, and now you actually get that. Yeah, very cool.
And there's so much stuff underneath that I'll analyze stuff till I go crazy, so I know the old stuff, and I know your stuff, and it's like all of a sudden there's something else that was there that all of a sudden is now out in the front, and it's like, holy shit, I had no...
I know. When I first heard that, I got that idea, which probably stuck with me all the way to why I reimagined stuff. Do you remember quadraphonic albums? Yep. Well, quadraphonic albums back in the 70s when they released them, they had extra tracks on it, like different guitar parts. And it freaked me out. I remember buying Blue Oyster Cult Tyranny Mutation Quad because it had different guitar parts than were some different added parts that weren't on the original. And I was like, oh, this is me. This is what I want. I mean, I want more.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably why I listen to a lot of old stuff and prog and even the new stuff. Is just because there's so many layers of stuff, and then it's amazing to hear like a band like Catatonia, for example, totally stripped everything off of their last album and created an acoustic album out of what they had. And
love that shit.
Mind blowing. Now you also resequenced it, which I'm a firm believer that a sequence matters. So why did you change the sequence on each one?
Well, I'm with you. Sequence is everything to me. I mean, I still listen. I try to listen to things from A to Z. Yep. The way it's presented as traditionally an album, which means an album, like an album of photographs, an album. It's a collection of stuff. There's a reason why number one is number one.
Correct.
It's not just a box of shit, So, with that intention in mind, it's a performance. Here's the first thing you hear, and then can you keep the listener to the next song? like it's a live performance.
Yep.
Can you turn corners in an interesting way? Can you you don't want to beat somebody up too much in the same tuning.
Right.
When's the time for the mellow track?
Yep.
When's the time for the instrumental? It's really fun.
Yep.
And it's a big deal for me. I agonize over that shit. It's like, oh fuck. I'll do records and actually write a new song because there isn't the right in the sequence of songs that I did write, there wasn't
the right flow.
One to fit the bill for track number 4, and I'll actually go back and write it.
Now, was that the case for adding new tracks to each one, and even like on the new one, the cover of Ball of Confusion? Was that a case where you had a flow, and there's like it needed something else, so you wrote something for it?
It was, well, in these cases, I just figured there should be something new. Just to hedge my bets.
Yep.
If somebody were to come out and go, hey, you fucking cheap ass motherfucker, you didn't give me anything new.
Yep.
So where's my bonus track?
Right.
The bonus tracks.
Yep.
But so I had to do something new, and I didn't want to just put some outtake or something. I wanted to do it, so I commissioned Joe Barisi to do his Magnet Mash, which is Live Behind the Paradise Machine, which is really, really cool. I mean, he took like 4 songs and put them together. These guitars from 4 different mellow Magnet songs and vocals. It pitched the vocals to fit, and it was just amazing. Like 8 minutes of that.
That is fucking nuts. Let me tell you, I was going to ask you about
like a real vibe. And it's not some techno bullshit remix. It's like a real.
Yep.
Fucking, a total vibe setter.
Yep.
And the other one was Ball of Confusion, which was actually taken from a jam that I had done during the Mastermind sessions. Okay. So that's an actual Mastermind from the Mastermind sessions. Phil Cavano on bass and Bob Pantella on drums, me on guitar. Mm-hmm. I just wanted to catch like maybe 7 minutes of a full-on Hawkwind style jam.
Oh, yeah.
With Phil doing his best Lemmy. And Bob just doing it like a Simon King, that kind of stuff, because they're so good at it.
Right.
And I just held it down with guitar and just had that stuff hanging around. And when I listened to it again, when it was time to reimagine for Cobras with Fire, I was listening to it and going, maybe I'll just put psychedelic guitar on it and just release it as a jam. Mm-hmm. But for some reason, I kept hearing Ball of Confusion over it. I don't know why. So, but that was it. I just kept singing Ball of Confusion. I was like, okay. I'll make this as if Hawkwind covered a Temptation song.
Perfect. And that's exactly what it sounds like.
That's what it sounds like. And it sounds ancient and old. I mean, it's really, that stuff, all the effects were put on while I was recording it. So like the fidelity is like total like shot,
Yep.
And perfect for it. And the record, that's another thing I did is I experimented with super hi-fi, super lo-fi, all over the place, sometimes in the same track. I'm trying to go for some sounds that aren't stock.
Right.
I don't want this to sound like anything quite else. It can remind people of something here and there, but I never want anything to sound just completely like, okay, I know the sound that's coming. I'd rather be a little surprising and odd.
Right. No, odd is good.
I'm into odd.
I'm very well as a prog fan and space rock and everything like that. I love odd. I live for.
Yeah, it's what the world needs, man. Yep. It's like the music. My God, with all this space on the internet, all this space and stuff, and so many bands sound exactly like each other. This boring fucking white kids making this shitty alternative rock. It's like, dude, do something. You know what I mean? Like, play with your fucking computers, and you can't tell me that. Oh no, there's a lot of experimentation. Listen to electronic dance music. It's like, this is the worst shit I've ever heard.
Exactly.
Nobody's taking any chances.
No, you've got to. That's the thing. It's like I think music is supposed to challenge the listener, and if it doesn't do that, then there's no point in listening to it.
It's supposed to be. It could be what anybody wants it to be. But I tell you one thing: there's no shortage of music that is designed with no challenge in mind. So that bases are covered. The bases are covered. The mainstream's covered.
Yep.
They're okay.
Exactly.
It's underground that needs some help, and you would think with all these bands and everything that's coming out, it's like, wow, this is like a renaissance. It is, but I don't think there's enough attention paid to and enough gold leafs given out to people who really take chances.
Yeah,
it's almost like people are buying stuff and liking stuff but not really listening to it, because the reviews I get back from almost everything, I read reviews all over the place. Mm-hmm. It doesn't sound like that a lot of people are really listening to what they're getting. They're kind of writing a review according to what the cover looked like or what they thought they heard.
Yeah, I know the feeling. Yeah, I mean, that's why for me, it's like doing reviews is tough, because more for me, because I don't want to say anything necessarily negative if somebody is actually at least trying to do something different. You know, assuming you've listened to it, you know what I mean? And I did one, I used to write for powermetal.dk, a Danish site, and finally I decided, why am I working for someone else? I'll fucking work for myself. But anyway, I reviewed, Milking the Stars, and it was like, I'm not sure that anyone got what I was saying, because I don't think people actually even read reviews wanting to learn something.
Well, that's a huge problem. I mean, that is like the number one. It's unbelievable. The number one problem with music is that it's kind of hard to know right now if anyone's really fucking listening, or are they just getting it?
Yep.
It's people like just trying to get so much that they're not really listening, or are they just, I don't know. I think it takes a while for a record to get noticed. A lot longer now get noticed, and sometimes these things don't happen naturally until years after the release date. Yep. And I hear you with the review. You wonder, it's like, hey, there's easy reviews to make. It's easy to make a review where you're like, this is the greatest thing in the world, or this sucks balls,
right,
and I'll tell you why, blah, blah, blah. When you try to explain to people why you like it, you're automatically cutting out a great percentage of people, because basically they're just kind of stupid.
Yeah, they just want to know. They just want a yes or no answer.
Yeah, they just want a yes or no. It's like there's less and less people that actually want to put in the time to learn,
right,
and to be challenged by anything. I mean, so it's in a weird spot. I think it'll sort itself out.
Yeah, I mean, you got to keep pushing, and that's the reason I'm not going to stop, because the whole point of what I'm doing is to match guys like you, the bands, with people that are actually going to give a shit and listen to it and like it, and and people will ask me, well, I like X, Y, and Z bands. What should I listen to? Well, I can shit out 100 for you to listen to if you're going to do it. I mean, and that's the thing, matching them up. And I'm always excited when people will say, oh, wow, you were so right about that. I like it because of such and such. And I'm like, there we go. You actually listen to it. So
it's kind of like, remember when you were like a teenager and you're really, really into it, and and you start to hang out with a lot of other people, and you're trying to get people into it, and you realize all of a sudden, now nobody loves this stuff like I do.
Yep.
They really don't like it. But every once in a while, you hit one or two guys that listen to like four things, like really with their ears, and came back, and you're shocked.
Yep.
My God, there are other people like me out there. You know?
Yeah, I mean,
and then they come back and turn me on. So I get some percentage. If you can get like a couple of percent people to listen and actually listen with their ears and with their mind. Yep. And rather than just knee-jerk react like, oh, I hate this. That happens a lot. People just they listen to 2 seconds of the song. That sucks.
Yep.
It's like, dude, I don't think.
No, you got to give it
I don't think you're a friend to any musician everywhere. I don't know what you like, or how you like it, but that ain't the way to do it.
No, you got to give everything fair shake and fair time. I mean, it's still the case now for me, being a fan of the music I am. It's like you can't always find everybody that's going to like you. And it's the case for bands like you. I mean, you're not going to appeal to everybody, and you know that. We're all over that, So we're just now we got to seek out and find those people that are going to listen to you guys, and that's the key.
Totally. In the old days, things took a lot longer, but there was at least in the press, in the days when people were still reading, there was a couple solid markets of weird rock.
Yep.
They crossed over into the mainstream too because there wasn't as many bands, so it was a good thing. Now there's a lot of different genres.
Yep.
And there's a lot of different, and everyone's so separated that sometimes I think that it's so separated that it's hard to find the people that would go for it,
right.
because people have already made up their mind. Oh, they wouldn't go for it. They're over on this site, but you don't know. You don't know until you try. And the hardest thing is to get the people to actually try, because if there's some jackass like churning out stuff exactly what they want,
Yep.
There's people who are just spoon feeding them everything they want, and not just music, everything else.
Right. No, I mean that was it. I mean, as an example, I'm doing a prog site, and initially I thought, well, I'm not sure, should I interview Dave or not? I'm like, fuck them. Wait a second. No, they're going to listen to my interview with Dave, and they're going to check out the new album because I think there's a crossover. And because my definition of what progressive rock, progressive metal, whatever is, has a much wider umbrella than everybody else. And I get shit for that on Facebook, every social media, because my definition doesn't match yours. Well, too bad. Because
I don't know what's the current definition of prog. I mean, it's not prog; it's progressive. So that the word prog has 70s to me to it, and then where do you progress after?
Right.
All that classical music influence, the whole Gentle Giant, yes, Off-Time and Signature, Amadou too. Sure. Man. All that were really, really cool, ridiculously outrageous cool stuff from the 70s. So where do you put that now? What's progressive these days?
It's to me, progressive is something that challenges the listener in some sort of way. It can be all of that, and that stuff is still challenging. And I'm glad when kids nowadays want to check that stuff out or whatever, because it means they're not being, like you said, spoon-fed just whatever their friends are telling them to. So
yeah, well, basically you're listening like an adult listens.
Right.
Now a lot of people, even adults, still listen to the way they listened to music when they were teenagers, meaning they're embarrassed. Certain things will go, oh, that's not cool.
Yep.
Because why? You don't have to wear it on your shirt. It's like you don't have to wear the music you listen on your T-shirt and have to explain yourself. You either like it or don't like it. If you're going to listen with a bad attitude and go, I don't like it.
Yep.
They're listening like teenagers listen to, which was fun. You wear your music as your identity, but it sure cuts off a lot of enjoyment of a lot of other stuff.
Yeah, you got to be open.
If you're open, it means you're going to have more stuff to like, right?
Exactly.
It doesn't mean you have to be an idiot, but at the same time, I appreciate enthusiasm and oddness wherever it comes from. I don't care if it's from myself or another band, or if it's from the Knife from Sweden, this synth pop band. It was just fucking crazy. But it's synth pop, but it's weirdly negative. And what I'm seeing, it's not heavy. Right. It's just weird.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be heavy. It doesn't have to be anything. It can be anything, and it should be anything. It's kind of, I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, it should be. And like I said, man, it's the more your mind is, the more open your mind is, the more you're going to enjoy things, and life's going to be more interesting. I can't imagine a less interesting life than to go around going, I don't like this. That's the first thing out of my mind is, and a lot of these websites are very negative. I think it's just fun to be negative. Yeah. That's why people write that way.
Oh yeah, it's trolling. It's everybody's got to be.
Totally.
Yep. That's it. All right, I'm getting off on a tangent on you. I'm sorry. Let's talk.
That's cool.
I want to talk about covers. I wrote this down because I got to compliment you always. This is kind of goes into kind of just being a fan of music as we're talking about, I guess. But I've always loved your choice of cover songs. The David Gilmour cover, for me, first of all, every time you do a cover, you seem to do it better than the original, which is an achievement.
That's a huge compliment.
And particularly, There's No Way Out of Here is one of the best songs I've ever heard by anybody, whether it's a cover or not. What
a great song that is, man. Holy shit.
Yeah, but you kicked the fucking shit out of that thing.
I just thought of what if I had to sing this song live, what would I do?
Yep.
And Gilmore's song was like a total studio construct and perfect for what it is. But if I had to do it live, I'd like, oh man, I need something, and that's the way I wrote it.
Yep. Oh, unbelievable.
With some sort of kick part to it, and that's the way I listen to it. I listen to most covers of the song because I love it, and I have to do it. I don't know why. I'm just like, I want to sing that. That's cool. All right, what can I do to make it work? I just think about it. If I was in front of a bunch of people doing this song, what would I do? And I always wind up changing it.
Yeah, because that's the case of the Stones song, Venus and Furs. There's always, there's always something. The Donovan track was another one where I was like, I'm not a fan of Donovan, but I'm a fan of this version of that song. So,
cool.
And that's to me the key is you make it work for you and then work for your fans. And to me, that's what a cover should be versus.
Yeah, if you can't do that, you really have no business doing the cover.
No,
unless it's like a guaranteed hit single, but that doesn't happen anymore. Which actually leads me to my next thing was like, how cool would it be just to cover, like in the '60s, just cover a popular mainstream song like every year.
Yep.
It's just like what if Monster Matic just came out? All right, I'm going to cover Rihanna.
Yep.
And just fuck it. That's what they did in the '60s.
Yep.
They would do like psychedelic versions of mainstream songs just because
Vanilla Fudge.
People were into buying different stuff. It would be hysterical.
Yeah, Vanilla Fudge made a career out of it.
Yeah, they did. They made a total career.
So, that's what I think is cool, is most time, what frustrates me is, I don't mind note for note covers, but it's like, well, what was the point? I could listen to the original and hear it sound just like that.
Yeah, same with me. It's like, if the cover is if it's a B-side, it's one thing. Okay, that's the point. All right, here's a B-side. But if it's on the album, it's got to make sense in the sequence.
And that was the next question. Yeah, it does have to. Each cover you've done has to fit that vibe of that album, right?
Yeah. It's all constructed around the vibe. Yeah, the cover usually comes last.
Usually, but not always. Like on my.
Not always.
Yeah.
It'll be in the head. So it'll be in my head forever.
Yep.
I think I was walking around with that Donovan thing forever, and it just kind of came out that now it was time to do it.
Yeah. That was perfect. Now, as far as other influences, besides Hawkwind, other old styles like Captain Beyond, I've always heard.
Oh, yeah, totally. Oh, my God. All that stuff. When I was a kid, the stuff that my blues, everybody has their root music. That's the music you listen to when you're a kid that changed you forever. And my root music was the stuff from the late 60s, early 70s. I was a kid, and I was a little kid in the late 60s.
Yep.
And then I was a new teenager, and a growing up teenager in the early 70s. So it was, it was like my brother's Beatles albums and Strawberry Alarm Clock and stuff was the stuff I first heard. And then it was the first bunch of Sabbath albums.
Yep.
Sabbath, Yes, Jethro Tull, Captain Beyond, Granicus, Sir Lloyd Baltimore. All the stuff that I didn't miss much.
Yeah.
Back then, I was just a nerd kid that would just go to the record store with like long hair and just go, this looks like the best thing ever. And half of it was. And then it was Roxy Music as well.
Yeah.
Roxy Music, all that art rock stuff, T-Rex, all of it. There wasn't much that I left alone. Maybe I didn't get into the jazz stuff later, but that was a really incredible time for music.
It really was. And
it was amazing. It was like a renaissance of creativity from like 65 to 75 that'll never be equaled again.
No,
it's not just because I'm old either. It really was. It was like, and all that stuff existed with each other, which is really cool. You could have Alice Cooper Schools Out, Yes, Fragile, Black Sabbath, Master Reality, and Sly and the Family Stone, Jethro Tull, Miles Davis, and the Rolling Stones all on the same wall.
Yep.
Like, okay, here's our new records. And a lot of the same people bought them.
Yep.
Really interesting. And it was genre versus genre, which is cool, too. Like, it's like, okay, it's funk versus metal. It was very cool.
Yeah, it was like there were a couple things going on there because the music changed. You hit, like you said, 65, which I think was personal.
Hey, dude, hold on 1 second. Okay, hold on 1 second.
Sure.
Sorry, man.
That's okay.
Go ahead. Yeah, what were you saying?
I was just saying, around that time, 65, it's just, the music just changed. It was so different prior to, like, 65 and in the late 60s that music itself sounded completely different. You don't have, there's no way to do that again because it was totally different style. Music, all the
different
genres.
style, and it was the first time that people started collapsing old styles into each other. You know, it's like, and they were still really, very, very, very different and very pure styles.
Yep.
What's happened now is that people keep bumping styles, but now they cheat. They don't learn how to play it. They like sample stuff and put it together and go, look, I just mashed this, and it's like not the same thing. It's just not the same thing when people aren't playing it.
Right.
The 60s was cool because the cultural scene was so huge. I mean, there were more kids in the USA than ever there was before on the planet. I think the baby boom.
Yeah.
And music was with white kids had just learned really, really how to have the most fun they could ever have with music, basically with rock and roll. Mm-hmm. They never had that kind of freedom. It was like sex music, you know. And then you add to that this literary component of Bob Dylan, activism, and all of a sudden things seemed and were a lot more important as far as the music concerned. Yep. And then that filtered down. The meaning filtered down to the actual playing, and people were like, well, why don't we just push it? And nobody stopped them. Like the mainstream back then couldn't deny the audience because there were so many kids. Yep. And what they wanted was what they got because they kept pushing for it. Mm-hmm. And the old guys, the record companies, they didn't know what to do, so they just let them do it. Right. And that's completely different now. Yeah. Now it's just like, fuck you. And the number one, the kids don't give a shit. Mm-hmm. The way they did back then, because they're just not as enthusiastically naive. You know, kids are smarter now. Yep. And it's unfortunate. So they don't take as many chances. Yep, I agree with you. And the mainstream, of course, is just like, well, wait, look, we know how to run a record. We really don't want any new ideas whatsoever. We'll say we do. We'll pay lip service to cutting edge, words like cutting edge and genre breaking, but we all know that there is no such thing in the 21st century as cutting edge or genre breaking. It's gone. It hasn't been done in 20 years. No, name me one fucking thing that's genre breaking. Everybody kind of falls in line right now. Right, but it'll come back. I think it'll come back. Yeah, well, I hope so, because I mean, to me, everybody's got to push. So I'm hoping that bands push. All right, I got one more question. I should let you go because I know I'm going over time. What's next as far as, are you going to, if you could remix another album, redo another album, let's say you could, would you do it in the entire Monster Magnet catalog? Well, there's two records. There's one that needs it. God Says No needs it. Yep. But I would probably do Super Judge first because I kind of screwed that up as a producer the first time around. And I remember walking out going, oh man, I could have done that better. Yeah. So it would probably be Super Judge. That's cool. Well, all right, so you're going on tour then, obviously when the weather gets cold, right? Yep. Okay. I got it all sussed out. Yeah, it looks like, well, I'll go in like late January, early February. Okay. And in the meantime, I should be writing new Monster Magnet material, which is my main job now. Yes, indeed. I was going to say, so the next album, you're hoping to get that hopefully out soon? Next year? Yeah, next year. Cool. Perfect. All right, Dave, I'll let you go. I really appreciate you taking time out. It was great talking to you, dude. All right, take care, man. All right, you too. Bye-bye. Okay, bye-bye.